On to round 6 we move. Is it finally time to take a closer with some of the best names like Josh Hader and Devin Williams coming off the board? Or should we opt for starting pitcher with names like Aaron Nola, Pablo Lopez, and much more on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball?
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I am your host, Dominic Martino. You can find me on Twitter at DomMartinoFB. Here, as always, with my brother, my co-host, my partner in crime, Matthew Ahne, and you can find him on Twitter at Matthew_Ahne. If you're listening on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly, truly appreciate it if you could do that for us. Or if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It will subscribe you to the channel and give you a notification every time we drop a new episode. And lastly, but most importantly, especially to you guys this time of year, join us on the Subtext platform. Through Subtext, it's an in-depth personalized experience. Do text messaging alerts that you're going to get right to your phone. Once again, it offers so much more than we can in this 30-minute podcast. And this time of year, you're going to get our 2025 rankings, sleepers, breakouts, busts, and once again, so much more. And all right, college football playoffs. The college football playoffs are here. You don't want to miss a moment of the action. The college football playoff presented by Allstate begins with 4 first-round games, December 20th and 21st on ESPN, ABC, TNT, and Max. Whew. All right, Matt, on to round 6. It feels like we're flying through these rounds, but you know what? It's great to cover the information where we could take advantage of early ADP and, where we're going to, maybe opt to not, take advantage of some of these names that are, a little bit going too high. That's why we do this. So, Matt, why don't we jump on in with round 6?
All right. So, at the top of the round, you're looking at Teoscar Hernandez. If I'm drafting today, I don't think it's a bad price due to the fact he hasn't signed with a team yet, to my knowledge. Correct me if I'm wrong. So. No, so he's still a free agent. The landing spot really isn't gonna. It will change his ADP for the good or the worse. For good or better. I don't know yet. I think it's a fair price. This is a risk I'm willing to take in the draft and holds or any NFBC draft. If I'm drafting like a league like one of my bigger leagues, I'll wait. I probably won't draft him in this round. If he stays at this price, depending on where he ends up landing, like for instance, if he lands back on the Dodgers, he's going to go up. If he goes to the Rangers, which is a great landing spot, I think he goes up just maybe a round. But then, if he goes to some nobody team like, St. Louis Cardinals that have been super underperforming and he's just getting paid, or he's going to some wonky team that we didn't see coming because they offered the most money, then yeah, it's going to go down. Just really a matter of that. But I think he's going to go to a contender. He wants another ring. So it's TBD. He might even end up on the Mets, which will also be another bonus. So we'll see. But yeah, right now, Teoscar Hernandez, I think is a fair price and a good gamble if I'm drafting today in like a draft hold.
Yeah, I love the price right now as the 21st outfielder off the board. He is coming off at pick 66 on average. I love it. I have Teoscar Hernandez as my outfielder number 13 right now. Honestly, that is with him. That in mind, that's with him at a really good landing spot. I think he's an elite outfielder number 2. Not a lot of question marks in his game. A lot of power. He's actually sneaky fast. I would love to see Teoscar go to a team that's going to let him run. He's in the 83rd percentile of sprint speed. 12 steals last year. I think he can maintain that, even maybe get up to 15, 18 steals. He's a career 263 hitter. Teoscar is. He hit 272 last year with 33 bombs, 99 RBIs, and 84 runs. Just like, more of what Matt said, if he goes to a great team, I don't think the Yankees are in on him anymore after getting Cody Bellinger. Red Sox probably have a shot at him. Matt, you mentioned a lot of other landing spots. I think he's going to go to a good team. With that in mind, paying an outfielder number 2 price is more than a great move for Teoscar Hernandez. Love him coming off the board here in round 6. Let's keep things pushing. Let's move on to a catcher. Let's talk some Yanyar, Diaz, and man, he has moved up quite a bit, and the performance, it speaks volumes of how good this kid is. But just the price is a little bit out of hand for Yanyar Diaz. 25 years old last season, played 148 games for the Astros, 585 at bats, 70 runs, 29 doubles, 3 triples, 16 homers, 84 RBIs, 2 steals. And he hit 299. If you had Yanyar Diaz as a catcher, I was pretty high on him last year. I had him ranked, fairly well at catcher. He's coming off the board once again, 66 on average. I'm just not paying this kind of price for any catcher, to be honest with you. I refuse to do it. He is one of those names, though. He really is. He's a young and up and coming catcher. He's coming off the board as the 3rd catcher. Just can't do it. I just won't pay this price for a catcher. I do love him. Do think he's going to be solid. Just don't have too much else to add. I think he's going to be solid. Just I won't. He won't be on any of my teams.
Yeah, I mean, we all hear how I speak about catchers this early. It's just not happening. Dom, well done. I don't even need to say anything else. If he was going a lot later, this would be a different conversation. Yes. But unfortunately, the price is way too high. So with that being said, let's move on to this next guy here, Framber Valdez of the Houston Astros. So he had a really good year last year, but I'm gonna throw a little shade, unfortunately. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. So Framber Valdez had a good statistical season: 176 innings pitched, 169 strikeouts, 2.91 ERA with a 1.10 WHIP. Fantastic numbers, right? You look at it face value, even the FIP looks good. But let's take a deeper dive, and he's about to fall in my rankings. Just to let you know where this is going. Lost a mile per hour on his fastball. Never a good sign. Average exit velocity has gone up to 90.2 miles an hour, whereas last year, actually, he got that down a mile per hour, which is wild. You look at, the chase is about the same, whiffed about the same, but the strikeouts were down, walked guys a little bit more. Hard contact was pretty evident. It allowed it 45% of the time. And, he was just getting hit a little bit worse. You look at even like his batting average on his sinker, which he threw 45% of the time. It had a batting average of 276. Curveball was pretty much unhittable. So was the changeup and the slider. But then the 4-seam fastball got rocked where he really didn't throw it that year. Went away from it again. It kind of looks like, for me at least, that with him turning age 32, it kind of scares me a little bit, being that we saw the dip in the fastball velocity. What else is losing the speed? I just kind of want to take a step back. He's going to fall in my rankings, not astronomically, but for him essentially to be, I guess, your SP2, especially over the name that's probably right behind him, I'm not really feeling all that great about it. So Framber Valdez is going to fall just a hair in my rankings at this point.
I see. You know what the funny thing is, Matt, that I feel like I've been out on Framber Valdez, quite a bit over the past few years. I feel like I'm dipping my foot in. This year. I'm going to take the optimistic.
You're going to Gaussman it.
Yeah, see, and I feel like that's what I did with Gaussman last year, and it screwed me. Not that I wound up with Gaussman on any teams, but just the take was a little bit off. But I like Valdez. I think he's the safest pitcher of the round. We're going to talk about some other starting pitchers coming up, and those guys are a little bit more volatile. I feel like what you're going to get with Valdez. You're going to get the low threes. Low threes, high 2s ERA, right under that K per 9. You're going to get like a 110 WHIP. 115 to 110 whip, I believe. And, the control has gotten a little bit better as to where, not giving up as many hits and walks as he has in previous years. The underlying stuff looks okay. Matt read off a lot of it. And, he's kind of been similar to where he's been the last few years with a lot of things, maybe a little bit worse with the age. But I like him. I think he's a very, very safe SP2. I have Valdez. SP2. Yeah, I have Valdez as my number 18 starting pitcher. I have him right near a couple of these guys that are in this round. So, it's really a matter of preference and the matter of the way your SP1 looks. But with that being said, we're going to discuss some more starting pitchers like Pablo, Lopez, Aaron Nola, and Bryce Miller. Those names and more coming up next.
Okay, get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need all in one place. Place live bets on the NFL, all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out your latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more from the same page you place your bet. Just visit FanDuel.com and join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 wins. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And guys, we got an interesting week coming up. There is some awesome division games that you might want to have some fun with. Phillies playing Washington. I think that's a fun game to bet on. I'm going to bet the over on, Saquon Barkley's rushing yards and touchdowns. I'm probably going to go for a 2-touchdown game. They can't defend the run for diddly. And I also am going to go for Jaden Daniels probably rushing for about 35 yards. So those are where I'm rolling with this weekend. FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And introducing the Locked On Fantasy Baseball Podcast, Diamond Club on Subtext, your ultimate fantasy baseball companion. Look, you want to win your leagues. You know how you're going to do it, right? If you don't, you're going to want to check out the Subtext, become a member. Links in the description below. We're going to give you our redraft rankings, our dynasty rankings, our prospect rankings, our sleepers, breakout bust values, and more. Plus, you'll be able to ask us questions. And look, we'd love to give you everything out here on this podcast. We only have about 30 minutes a day. So that leaves limited coverages. You're only going to get a little bit of a perspective of Dom and I's individuals. And that's really just about it. The list goes on and on and on. Things we can't get out here. Check us out. Links in the description below. But let's get back into it. Dom, go for it, bro.
Yeah, so this is a fun round for starting pitchers. This is where you really want to start looking for an SP2, and why not look in Pablo Lopez's direction, right? I literally have Lopez, Valdez, and Nola, who we're going to talk about later in this round, all within 4 spots of each other, which is, so it's preference at this point. Pablo Lopez is still the upside play, right? There's still the chance that he has the season that we're hoping, that huge. I think it will be an outlier at this point in his career, but I think there's the magical seasons in there somewhere where he has the low 3 ERA with 180 innings with 200 plus strikeouts, and he puts up a strong whip. I'm just not banking on it anymore. This isn't something I'm working into my rankings. I have Lopez under Valdez just because the security of Valdez. And, look at Lopez's last 3 seasons. It's a 4.08 ERA, a 3.66, and a 3.75. Of course, the Ks were there, 2 out of those 3 years. But the whip is, volatile as well. 119 whip for Lopez this last season, 115 the year before, 116 the year before that. And he's a career 3.65 FIP guy. He has good stuff. He, like Aaron Nola, is just, bound to have those blow-up starts that, crush him. He'll go 3 strong innings, and then he'll go into the 4th, and he'll give up 5 runs, and that happens, 3, 4, 5 times a season, and that's how you wind up with a 4+ ERA. I'll be honest with you. Like I said, I do have Valdez a little bit higher than Lopez, so I would make that move. But just Lopez does have the upside of an SP2 if your SP1 is safe enough to handle the burden if he does have a 4 ERA again.
Yeah. No, what the heck is going on here? Okay. Anyway, I was looking up something else entirely for the next one. But anyway, so my boy Lopez, honestly, Dom, you did a great job. I still trust him. Is pretty much where I'm getting at it. Dom probably mentioned his FIP. His underlying stats at the X batting average still aren't atrocious the X ERA. So I think that's kind of like the true north. So I'm not out on him at all. Only going to be 29 years old. Can't beat it. But let's move on. Let's talk about Josh Naylor of the Cleveland Guardians. First base and outfield eligibility, but I think he's lost his outfield eligibility, if I'm not mistaken, because I was trying to find him. Was not populating on Fantasy Pros. That's what I was looking for in the background here. And he's coming off the board.
Just first base. He didn't play any games at outfield last year, yeah.
Right. So he's coming off the board as like the 7th, first baseman after Yanyar, Diaz. And again, I don't qualify him as a first baseman. He's a catcher, no matter how you slice it and dice it, because he doesn't put up, a real first baseman ranking. So do not look at him for that. But Josh Naylor, quite honestly, I think has kind of won me over a little bit. I don't think I think I kind of even overlooked him in my rankings too. I have Josh Naylor sitting at 10, but I think he's going to be actually no, 10 is the better first baseman. Actually, so I can't even. It's hard. So like you look at his numbers, right? And like, you might say, "Hey Matt, you're just unprepared today." No, it's really more of like, okay, I'm sitting here, I'm like, "Ooh, I'm intrigued." And I'm going to tell you my thought process here. 563 at bats, 84 runs, 27 doubles, 31 bombs, 108 ribs, 6 stolen bases and batted 243. You look at his career as a whole and he's actually never played a full season until this year. He only missed 8 games this year. You look at it and all the promise of what he's had to offer for the last couple of years of showing glimpses of being, somebody that could be elite. And he took that step forward at age 27 with a full season in hand, whereas like the last 2 seasons he's had 122 and 121, missing about 30 games, and that could have been the difference of our view on Josh Naylor. And you know what? The batting average is the only thing that's like a deterrent on me, but I'm not mad at him, but I am mad at the price. That needs to come down. I don't think there's going to be a surgence of batting average in his future where we look at 2023 where he batted 308, his career high essentially. I don't think that's ever going to be a reality. I think a 243 to 256 is probably a fair expectation for batting average to go along with these stat lines. I think is good, but again, I think the 10th first baseman, not the 7th.
Yeah, Matt. Total. I'm with you here on Naylor. I actually have him as my 11th first baseman, so we're one spot off. I'm once again. I think we're gonna switch. I think you took a little bit more of the optimistic take. I think I'm gonna take a little bit more of the pessimistic take, as to where it was a lot of first half for Naylor. 90 games in the first half with 22 homers, he hit 246. 62 games in the second half, only 9 homers, and he hit 240. And it was a really big April, March, where 28 games over those 2 months, he had 282, Josh Naylor did. So I think it was a lot of heavy lifting in the first half. The second half, he slowed down a lot. I just don't see me targeting him here, honestly. And, I don't want to get too much into later episodes, but you got guys like, I'm not going to give you away their ADP, but Casas is going later, Pasquantino is going later, Bellinger's going later, CES is going later. So I probably won't have any Josh Naylor if this is the cost. Has power in the bat, not really much speed. If the batting average isn't great and the team's not great around him, really not much besides empty power. Josh Naylor, actually, I might go the opposite way. I think he might move down a little bit in my rankings here as I start to fine tune these things. Not really big Josh Naylor guy this year. Let's keep things pushing. Let's move on to somebody who we're hoping can bounce back, because if he does, this value is elite. It's Marcus Semien of those Texas Rangers. And a bit of a down year last year for Semien, right? And he's getting older, age 34. Last year, he had 650 at-bats. He did have 101 runs, 23 homers, 8 steals, but he hit 237. Like I said, the underlying stats, kind of look a little bit ugly here as far as, I don't know if the power is going to maintain. The batting average can come up. Expected batting average was 251. Semien hit 237. I could see that bouncing back up. And the speed was there too. Even with his old age, he was in the 81st percentile of sprint speed. I'm not banking on the Semien bounce back here. Have him at 8 at second base. This is a tough one for me. Another guy that I'm probably just avoiding in this round. I think this is really going to be the starting pitcher round for me. If you missed on the Teoscar Hernandez here, I'm not really a huge fan of a lot of these other names here. So just another name probably avoiding. I mean, you can get a little risky and, hope for the bounce back, but I'm just not really seeing it. And the price is a little bit too rich for me.
Yeah, this one kind of hurts me. But I mean, I have it kind of reflecting. He's the 5th, second baseman for me in my rankings right now. And it's kind of hard to not pick him, right? Like, one, I feel like the team as a whole kind of took a step backwards. They go from winning the World Series to one of the worst teams in baseball. And then, essentially then how do you fall off that hard? It's usually just unheard of. And then for Semien to take this far of a step back, it just doesn't feel as right either. The thing that went behind him is essentially the launch angle and the bat speed. I pray that isn't the indicator that we're all seeing. That is going to cause a deterrent, but the price just isn't right. I'm still not going to take him at this price. I was hoping it was less. it's very top heavy at this draft, right? Like most of the second basemen are going in the first 2 rounds. You know, he may be the bust, but I have to rank him higher than guys, and I'm going to read it off in my rankings, right? Higher than the Nico Horners because they're pretty much a specialty. The Jose Altuve, who I am more confident in a decline. The Luis Garcia I want to rank higher, and the Colt Keith that I want to rank higher, and the Jackson Holidays. You know, these are guys that I want to rank higher, but I just don't have the trust that I can have that I could think I can have at least a floor with Marcus Semien before the fall off. But again, this price is just not good enough. But coming up next, we're going to be talking about the bank, Anthony Santander, and, you know, seeing if we can actually cash in again on this performance, or was it just a contract? You'll find out after this.
The World Series, Super Bowl, the Olympics, the world's top athletes get to play in these top-level sporting events thanks to one thing: teamwork. And teamwork can also protect your financial legacy and your family's future. Select Quote's licensed insurance agents are the perfect teammates when shopping for customized, affordable life insurance. They can find you the right policy to keep your financial legacy safely in your family's end zone. Select Quotes is one of America's leading insurance brokers with nearly 40 years of experience, helping over 2 million customers find over $700 billion in coverage since 1985. Other life insurance brokers offer impersonal one-size-fits-all policies that may cost you more and cover you less. While Select Quotes licensed insurance agents work for you to tailor a life insurance policy for your individualized needs in as little as 15 minutes. You invest so much time to take care of yourself and be the healthiest, best version of you. Select Quotes exclusive policies can reward that effort. Get the right insurance for you for less at selectquotes.com/locked-on. Go to selectquote.com/locked-on today to get started. And one more time, that is selectquote.com/locked-on to get started today. And all right, Matt, you mentioned it up top. Let's talk about the bank himself, Mr. Anthony Santander, with a monster season last year with those Baltimore Orioles, of course. 155 games, 595 at-bats, 91 runs, 25 doubles, 2 triples, 44 home runs, 102 RBIs. He had 58 walks to 129 strikeouts, which he improved in that area. But the batting average did come down to 235. Kyle Schwarber light, Matt. I think that's a great take here. I have Santander as outfielder number 26. Honestly, I might have to move him up like maybe a spot or two to get him, like 24. He's coming off the board as the 22nd outfielder overall. I like it. Honestly, he's a low end outfielder number 2 for me, a high end outfielder number 3. If you're getting him as your outfielder number 3, chef's kiss. I think that's perfect for him. If he is your outfield number 2, I hope you found batting average in other spots in your team and the speed as well, because he's not really giving you anything there. Points leagues, he took a step in the right direction, a couple more walks, a lot less strikeouts. And I think he's just going to be a staple in the middle of that Baltimore lineup, and that power plays, man. You don't got to worry about him playing in Camden Yards because he hits that ball a mile. It's going out wherever he hits it. So I like Anthony Santander. Once again, if you were aiming for Kyle Schwarber and you missed on him, you could take Santander later, and they're very, very similar players.
Yeah, I think it's more of like a super light, Schwarber, and reason being is I look at him and I go, like, was he really doing this for the contract, or was he doing this because this is just the next step in his development at age 30? He has a career high by literally 11 home runs. He dips in his batting average, which means he's sold out for power. Because, it's not like it's by much, but still, he's always been like a 340, 350 batting average kind of guy. And for a good 3 years in a row at 260, not 340, 240. And then for a couple years, he was a 261 hitter. He's always had like 25 to 32 home run upside, right? With the team being better, the runs and ribs are there, and always been a double machine. I don't think he's going to break 40 again. I don't think we're going to see mid 40. I don't think we're going to see high 30. I won't be surprised if we see a negative regression in that power back to where it was his career high of 33 before this year. With Anthony Santander, I think he's overpriced, and quite honestly is, for this price, a bust for me. Because if he doesn't hit 40 home runs and he does exactly what he did last year, and also depending on where he lands too, like he decides to go in a no man's land and go to the Giants, then I'm really not going to like it. So Anthony Santander for me is an all-out bust. I don't think he's going to hit 40 home runs again. So.
Yeah, I'll just say, Matt. You know what? You're right. I totally forgot that he didn't. I thought I saw that he had re-signed with Baltimore. No, he hadn't re-signed yet. Landing spot's big. Landing spot's big with him. I'll definitely move him down if he doesn't go to a good team. But then again, he has the opportunity to go to an even better park than Baltimore because Baltimore is small. Camden Yards is a big park for for bats. So we'll see. We'll see how things go with landing spot there.
Yeah.
In there.
I don't know. For me, it's just, even so. I mean, you're going to tell me you're going to hit literally 11 more than your career high in your age 30 season? That just doesn't smell right to me.
He's got the pop. Big guy, 6'2", 230.
That's fine, but he's been a big guy and got the pop for quite some time now. To hit 11 more home runs, you're going to bank on the career year and pretty much draft him at his ceiling right now when he's never been this high of a pick. And I can't bank on it. I'm going to pass. But let's I've had enough at least on him. Let's move on to Josh Hader. Had a little bit of a disappointing season in certain aspects, and other where, it made up for it essentially, right? Age 30 season, he pitched about 71 innings, had 105 strikeouts, which was really nice, but then had a 3.8 ERA with 34 saves and a WHIP of 0.95. So, like, obviously, what I'm disappointed about, and the only thing I'm really disappointed about is his ERA. There was weeks where, he pretty much affected your total ERA on the week, or, hurt you in the points category. Could have given you a negative output. And that's not good when it's coming from a closer you've drafted higher. Now, I will say that, we didn't get to see a full season when he got traded to the Padres a couple years ago from Milwaukee. And, you can't take this as gospel, but when he first got there, he looked like absolute garbage. And then his second year with the Padres, he then was absolutely incredible. This is where I think he falls on that new year, new team deal. First year with the Astros, was kind of getting his whole life situated. Now I think year two on the team and in the city, I think we'll see a resurgence. Currently, I have Hader as my 5th closer, and I think if anything, he'll probably be my 4th. I'm not mad at it. The only other thing that may happen is there might not be as many save opportunities, with that team dwindling if they don't make some signings and the movement of Tucker. There's a lot of things trending down for Houston as well. So, which is kind of why I might even see him moving down as we get closer to. I want to see what free agency landings are looking like with them, and that's going to distribute also and determine how many saves he's going to get. So with Josh Hader, I'm not picking him in this round.
Yeah, Matt, great take there on Hader. I also have him as my 5th closer coming off the board right now. I do want to mention this though when it comes to closers, right? So with closers, this is kind of where I'm thinking about jumping in to grab my first closer. I'm at least considering it around this time. I like to get at least from my number 2 to my number 8, 9 closer. I like to get one of them at least, just so I have an elite closer and I don't have to worry about it, down the year, as long as they stay healthy. Josh Hader, like Matt said, it's tough. Matt, you broke down great the team context and everything there. It probably not taking him, but there's somebody later who I just might. Let's hope we can get to him. Another starting pitcher here. Let's talk Bryce Miller. I love the young upcoming kid. He had a great season last year, really adapted to the league, adapting to him. Had a tough rookie season in 2023, a great sophomore season in 2024. The 25-year-old Bryce Miller, 31 starts, 2.94 ERA, 180 innings, 171 strikeouts, and 0.97 WHIP. The kid's going to be really, really good. I have him ranked a little bit lower. I do have to move him up. Right now, I have him at SP 35, it looks like. A little bit low. He is coming off the board a lot higher than that right now. He's coming off the board at pick 72. I do like it. I do think he could be an SP2 with upside. I'd prefer to get him as an SP3, but I'm not mad at you if you do decide to take him around here.
Yeah, I have Bryce Miller at 25, so I'm closer to ADP, but not that close apparently. With him going, you said the 17th off the board, right?
Pick 72 off the board. SP, give me a second. I'll grab it for you. It's probably around like 19, something like that, I would assume. Yeah, the 20, SP 20.
That's still a little too rich for my blood. He's still going to be good. Great young pitcher. This is probably the last year we'll get him this cheap. But, you talk about your SP2. You need a little bit of stability and somebody that you're going to be able to count on. And that's where I move on to our next guy, and that's Aaron Nola, who I'm picking over and who I've ranked about 5 spots higher than.
Same.
I like Nola for this year. He's on a good team, even though, you have those blow-up games. But overall, he's still going to be a good pitcher. He finished with, a 3.57 ERA on the year. He had 199 innings pitched, 197 strikeouts. He had a whip of, 119. Like, you're really not mad at that output at the end of the day. Even if with a couple blow-up games, the overall aspect and the end result is the part that you're going to matter. You're going to get that ROP, that return on pick, where, you're going to have a strong SP2. So Aaron Nola is the pick there for me. Honestly, over, let's see, one last insight onto the rankings. Yeah, he's the only pitcher I'm picking in this round. So it's really
I'm with you on Nola. Great take on him. Just the consistency is the only issue. Talk about Devin Williams real quick. This is the pick. If you want to close you and Devin Williams stays in this round, you take him. The opportunity is going to be a lot with the Yankees. Good team. Matt, I don't know if you got anything to add on Williams.
No, actually, I lied too. I didn't see the Luis Castillo at the end. Devin Williams, number 1 RP overall. Well, Castillo, great pick in this round.
Yeah,
actually,
great
it's
pick.
Kind of a steal.
Yeah, same page.
Needs to be drafted.
Perfect pick here.
Needs to be drafted much higher. But guys, with that being said, please like, subscribe, comment, rate, review, do everything you can to share this podcast. Share it with your mom, please, and everything else. And when you're done, check out my boy Sully over at Locked On MLB. With that being said, guys, have a great rest of your day. Peace out.